It's the same house. Look at the building. Look at it. Now, remember this was taken 25, I think, years ago. All right, and the house was a mess. It was a wreck. And the only thing that lived in it were squirrels, chipmunks, and maybe even birds or something. I'm sure insects. All right, now, what happened? This house was in very bad shape, and it was going to be demolished. Now, what does that word mean? Oh, good. You all know it's a big word. What do you think?
Like taken down. Like...
Yes, destroyed. And you know why? You know why? Because the owner who owned it said, I need more parking spaces out front to park more cars. So we're going to demolish this building. And at the very last minute, they said, you know, we really don't need 3 or 4 more parking spaces. You can have it. It's a sort of crummy old building. Look at it here. What had happened to this building, do you think, to put it in such terrible condition? Do you think it was a tornado?
No.
No. What do you think had happened?
It got
Old?
old.
But old doesn't always mean because it's old here and it's also old here. Okay? In fact, it's even older here in this picture. What happened? Look at the proof. If you were a policeman coming down here to look at this building and said, what happened? What do you think? The boy in the back. How about you?
A squall.
A what?
A squall.
A squall. I don't know if there's squalls on the Fox River. Look at this part of the building, especially. Especially. And if I told you this was the kitchen, that might kind of affect your answer.
A fire?
Yes, there was a fire. See the damage from it? You can see the soot here. You can see part of the damage down here. And you can see the windows were boarded, partially boarded up, although here they look like they're open. I think it's actually glass. The picture makes it look like they're open. Now, look at the 2 pictures. And I want to point out one more thing because you walked here across the bridge. So I do want to talk about one more thing. This picture is taken in 1980 or 81. In that time, and that was way before you were born, and in fact, your parents are probably pretty young then too, but there was a building next door to us here, a big building that maybe your teacher talked about when you crossed the bridge.
No, we didn't talk about it.
Did you not talk about it?
They might have heard me talk about it with the other teacher.
With the other teacher. Okay, there was a big old factory over here next door, and you know what happened to it? It was
Demolished.
Demolished. You'll remember that word, won't you? Okay, and it was the piano factory. So we have an old picture of the piano factory here. And then somebody came along and they said, well, let's fix that piano, let's make it to a mall. And it was made to a shopping mall. It was the piano factory mall or something. And it actually was pretty nice. It was cool. It had an escalator in the middle, 3 stories, so they fixed it up. They didn't do a very good job fixing it up because they took these wonderful old windows and they just blocked them up. See that? Some windows are open and some are all blocked, but they saved the building. And then about 5 years ago, they said, this factory isn't working. We're going to build a whole bunch of townhouses, and they demolished it. So you can see, when you have an old picture, you have these clues on the outside. All right, now let's look at this old picture here. And you thought there was a fire. I think there was a fire. There were still some big trees that later, this might have been elm that died. What would be the first thing that we had to do to fix up this house, to restore it, to look like that? What was the very first thing? Think about the fact that there were animals living inside. And it was kind of, you know, it was really a mess. Every room was a mess. What do we have to do?
Clean it.
Clean it. First thing.
We'll open all the windows so that animals will go out.
But they would come back in if you didn't fix what?
The
roof. Okay, so I think the first thing we had to do was put a new roof on. All right, you can even tell over here, the little area here where the chimney was that had fallen, so it was gone. So I think the first thing we had to do was fix the roof, and I was here as a volunteer in the 1980s, before I started working here. So fix the roof, fix the windows, closed them up, you know, board them up if they were broken. And then, what was maybe the second, what did we do after that? Tell me about 5 things that we did to fix this up so it looks like that. You can just kind of look up and down. I think you can see, right? You can see both? Yeah, you can see really well. All right, what do we have to do?